In this video, we'll take a look at several Bitcoin applications. Some are closely integrated with the development of the Bitcoin network, while others operate almost entirely independently. Let's explore a few of the most talked about and actively developed examples today. First, Bitcoin ETFs. A Bitcoin ETF is an application that allows users to hold Bitcoin indirectly through the framework of traditional financial ETFs. It can also be seen as a product focused on Bitcoin's value as a new type of investment asset. Currently, managing Bitcoin directly requires some technical knowledge, such as handling private keys. ETFs, on the other hand, allow financial institutions to manage the Bitcoin while enabling users to trade it through familiar ETF mechanisms. Organizations that already deal with traditional ETFs can easily offer products that provide indirect exposure to Bitcoin. Since their introduction, Bitcoin ETFs have attracted significant capital and users. As a result, they have a substantial indirect impact on the Bitcoin ecosystem. However, they are largely separate from the technical development of the Bitcoin network itself. Due to their economic scale, they may also influence governance and regulation. Bitcoin ETFs are offered by financial institutions. By law, ETF providers are required to hold an equivalent amount of actual Bitcoin corresponding to the ETFs held by users. Some services rely on third-party custodians to store this Bitcoin, while others manage custody in-house.
Bitcoin ETFs may have been the biggest Bitcoin story of 2025. Applications of Bitcoin were often viewed negatively by traditional financial institutions in the past, but now major Wall Street firms like BlackRock and Fidelity are offering these services. In a way, it might mean that Bitcoin as an asset is starting to achieve product-market fit. That said, a large amount of Bitcoin appears to be concentrated in a small number of custodial entities, which raises concerns about centralization. Some worry about the risks of large custodial wallets being hacked, or about reduced on-chain transaction activity leading to lower miner fees, which could affect the long-term health of the ecosystem. On the other hand, ETFs make it possible for institutions that otherwise couldn't trade Bitcoin to gain exposure, so they've clearly helped broaden access.
Second, Laps. Laps is a general term for applications that integrate Lightning Network functionality. For example, games developed by companies like Finder Games and Zebedee allow players to earn small amounts of Bitcoin via the Lightning Network as they play. In the early stages, these applications were closely tied to improvements in the Lightning Network protocol. As a result, they were also closely connected to the developer community and evolving regulatory discussions. Third, the use of Bitcoin mining in natural gas extraction. In natural gas extraction, excess gas is often burned to regulate pressure. Many of these sites are located in remote areas without access to power grids, so the gas has traditionally been wasted through flaring. Recently, however, there have been efforts to use this gas to generate electricity and power Bitcoin mining operations. Because mining equipment can be transported, companies can generate electricity on-site and convert it directly into Bitcoin without relying on the power grid. This can improve the economics of extraction operations. Additionally, this approach can reduce CO2 emissions from flaring, making it beneficial for society as well.
Participating in mining is fully part of the Bitcoin network itself. Bitcoin mining has long been criticized for its energy consumption, but this example shows how it can create positive outcomes. There's also growing discussion that mining could help expand renewable energy infrastructure in areas without access to power grids.
Finally, Nostr. Nostr is a decentralized social network that includes a feature allowing users to send very small amounts of Bitcoin via Lightning payments, similar to giving a like. This is a unique capability made possible by the Lightning Network's support for micropayments. Unlike Bitcoin, double spending is not a concern in social networking, so Nostr uses a different distributed architecture. However, there is growing interest in using Nostr as a kind of middle-layer protocol for Bitcoin applications. For example, methods are being explored to facilitate peer-to-peer exchanges between fiat and Bitcoin using the Nostr protocol.
Receiving small tips on Nostr is a really fun experience. If micropayments like this become widespread, it could open up entirely new possibilities. There also seem to be quite a few developers building new things by combining Nostr with Bitcoin.
As we've seen, most Bitcoin applications are built outside the core Bitcoin network. Depending on the application, different properties of Bitcoin may be lost, and the impact on the Bitcoin network also varies. It's important to understand these trade-offs before using them.
There are many more applications out there, but we introduced a few representative examples. I hope these continue to become more widely adopted. There was some criticism when ETFs were introduced, but I think what matters most is that users understand what they're using, and hopefully we'll continue to see even more applications emerge. Personally, I'd really recommend trying out Nostr's tipping feature at least once.